chance. Yeah, YouTube has an update. Everything's different. Or at least they've changed some of the UI. Which just seems weird. Hi folks, if you are watching after the fact, then please do feel free to skip ahead to qualifying as we get the rest of the lobby set up, and just wait for the start time to come. Should get going any minute now.
Hello Rick, hello Lifebelt. If you are watching my stream is just going to be Onboards because the king has returned. Simo's back. So go head over to his channel for the full dynamic main commentary view, and my channel for the Onboards.
Right, let's open that up. Hello Lifebout. Yes, I am back. It's been a long 5 weeks, if you can believe it's been that long. Been through many a woes with my internet provider, plus a quick bout of COVID, but I've survived it all and returned to my favourite place to be on a Tuesday evening, which is watching you guys hurtle 10 cars around a racetrack for the next couple hours and enjoying the carnage and the amazing racing that naturally comes about. Oh. Nice cup of tea, nice water. Hello, Rick. I'd say what you've written, Rick, but I don't think my throat can manage it at the moment. I think I've got to save that for the commentary. Oh dear. What's going on? Has no one got the message?
There we go. Now the message has gone out.
There we are.
Hello, Andreas. Welcome in. NT, our resident NT Mika supporter. Go ahead to my channel's just Onboards today. So go ahead and go over to Sumo's channel. It is Sumo in all caps _ and then GILLIGON. That is the channel name. He is streaming the main dynamic commentary view. So go ahead, go to his stream, give him a like, give him a subscribe, yeah, he's back. So we're back to duo commentary, and I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yes, it should be very fun. So good evening, everyone, and welcome back to APPF1 for some Tier 2 action. I'm Sumo, your commentator this evening, returning from 5 weeks of no internet, and joining me, as always, is the now 5-time sprint champion and my amazing co-commentator Ghost. How you doing, buddy?
Hello. Yeah, I'm doing good. It's fantastic that you're back. Very much looking forward to it.
Good to be back.
It's been fine on my own, but you know, it's been a bit lonely. We've missed the dulcet tones of of Sumo in these parts. Yes, it's fantastic to be back commentating with you in the box, and I'm very much looking forward to this Canadian Grand Prix where Muhiti has a great chance to take a commanding championship lead.
Yes, he certainly does. Our drivers then tackled the circuit Jules Villeneuve in Montreal, Canada for round 10 of the championship. This street circuit, located on Notre Dame Island, is a 4.361 kilometre circuit with 13 corners, 5 to the left and 8 to the right, which include the infamous Wall of Champions chicane as the last two tracks. Last two corners, I should say. This street circuit has a lot of challenges on offer for the drivers this evening. Track limits are usually the biggest challenge faced by the drivers here, closely followed by the ever-present walls. Keep an eye out for drivers being handed a number of penalties as they navigate this track. Any thoughts on this classic circuit?
Yeah, the track limits Grand Prix, we like to call it in sim racing. You can see pretty much everyone with track limits penalties usually on this track. So I think they could well define some of the positions in this race. So that is definitely something to keep an eye on. But I've always liked this track. I think it's a really good and very technical, very sort of skill-based track, which very much rewards being on the edge. And punishes if you make very slight errors or you're too conservative. So it's very cool track to drive, but very difficult to race well and overtake on. So it's going to be an interesting race.
Yes, certainly, and I would expect to see the safety car at least a couple times tonight if drivers do manage to go a little bit too far over the limit, as we turn our attention towards the championship now, which is a close inter-team battle between the two Ferrari drivers, Alex and Muhiti, a formidable pairing it seems. And of course, with Alex not here this evening, Muhiti has every chance to claim the lead. 6 points separate the pair as they fight for the championship amongst themselves, so Muhiti can get himself a decent lead over his teammate. Fido Man looks to be in a close fight for third with JBS Steve and his teammate Lawrence, so keep an eye on that battle for best of the rest. Ferrari look on track to take the Constructors' Championship as Alpine, Red Bull and Mercedes fight it out for second. I've missed the last 5 rounds, guys, so everything has changed since I was last here in Spain. But are there any insights into the championship?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's actually 4 points between Muhiti and Pommy just because of the penalty that was applied. So yeah, that wasn't applied until about 10 minutes ago.
There we go.
But yeah, it's certainly been an interesting one. It's been ups and downs. I think a lot of drivers have kind of bottled it, I have to say. Lawrence should be in this championship fight. JBS Steve should probably be in this championship fight. Tito Man's just been consistent up there, but it's also missed races as well. Has been tough for a lot of drivers. Muhiti and Tia, the only two to be in every race so far this season. I think it's been a championship of ups and downs, and I would not put it past it at all for us to have a final race drama in this championship. It's just that kind of title battle, I think. As Muhiti takes the initial pole, I did hear waves in the Discord chat about Muhiti's time trial time. Everyone very worried. So he has taken the early advantage. We'll see how long it lasts.
Yeah, the Turkish driver has really developed his driving as he's been here with us in Tier 2, and it's been a masterclass to see as he's sat on pole at the moment as the early times come in. LB coming round the wall of champions now, getting very close to the wall there, something you do not want to do, as Kevin Magnussen did a couple years back. I think it was 2019, which would have been the last Canadian Grand Prix that we had, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, tonight's action, of course, is brought to you by Positive Reception Media Design Products. Please do go and head over to their socials and over to their YouTube as well. They're great lovers of motorsport and livery designs as well, so please do go and check them out and show them all the appreciation you show us over here. But anyway, we'll get back to the qualifying action as things seem to develop. It looks like who's out on track at the moment. I think there's an Alpine about to set a lap on a hot lap, out lap it seems actually. As we've seen some of the early times come in, I watched as Mr. J-Man had a very scary moment coming out of the Wall of Champions chicane there. Looked very shaky, that rear end.
Yeah, he was that where he invalidated? Because I did see that he had invalidated.
So, just in the last corner, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so he's having trouble, but he has been the star ever since in qualifying, ever since you've been absent, Sumo. Mr. J-Man has come out of absolutely nowhere and been top 5 in qualifying pretty much every week. So he's probably one to watch today again in qualifying, but he really just needs to work on race consistency because he's not converting those performances into points. So I think maybe next season he could be one to look at, but for the moment he needs to improve on his race consistency.
Here he comes now. This is looking like a decent time from the Williams. This is 11.7, enough to put him into P3. That's not bad at all. I've got a very, very adamant Muhiti fan in my chat right now, continuing to say his name over again. Hello, Verdat, Tekin, welcome to the chat. I mean, I appreciate all of the chat messages, but I think we get the point. Fando, 100% point finishing streak. Well, I mean, there's points for every position, so I'm guessing you're more excited about the fact that you've not DNF'd any races, which is always very, very good. So well done for that. Good luck in qualifying. Yeah, he's definitely a big Muhiti fan.
He's just come to the end of his lap, Tito. 11.8 puts him into P4. Not bad at all. RPM Westy is a new... Yeah, good luck from him. AlphaTauri's looking strong towards that half of the season with those two newer drivers. But yeah, RPM Westy, a newbie to Tier 2 this week in the hat. He was in the Sprint Championship on Sunday on the opening round, and he did well there. And he's hoping that he does well here as well. He's just coming to the end of his lap now.
Yes, for the Wall of Champions, it's so important to get it right. You've really just got to be as brave as you can with that corner and just hope that you don't hit the wall. Really, you can cut a lot of, I think it's the second part of the chicane you can cut. The first one, if you cut too much, you will get validated. So you've just got to be careful. You can use the curve. It's not as bad as it has been in previous games, but you've just got to be committed and brave.
Yeah, absolutely. Here coming to the end of his lap now. Ente Miko is purple in Sector 1, so keep an eye on him as well. And in Sector 2, Ente Mika looking to challenge Muhiti for that top spot.
Yeah, I think Muhiti's out on track now as well. Tier just cut the chicane a little too much. That would have been a fairly decent time from the Aston Martin driver. Would have seen him up the lower reaches in the top 10. Here comes Ente Mika then, man, looking to get onto provisional pole in the AlphaTauri as he comes through, opens up that DRS toward the finish line. Is it going to be into the 110s? No, it's an 11.2 from the AlphaTauri driver, and that's enough to sit 2 tenths ahead of Muhiti in the Ferrari.
Yeah, Ente as well, one of the stars of this second half of the season, as well as his teammate Get Carter. They've both been fantastic the last few weeks. And they've won one race each the last 2 weeks. Jamie F1 comes across the line in P8, 12.2 for the Mercedes driver for now. Tier, the only one yet to set a lap. Muhiti didn't get his previous lap off and running, but in his second lap he is purple in Sector 1, so the Turkish driver looking to take back his top spot.
JBS Steve now, he's coming up to the final couple of corners in that Mercedes. Not looking like the best time from the Mercedes driver, maybe some mistakes early on in the lap, so it's not going to be an improvement, as I think he's just going to go round again, so we'll come back to him in just a moment. I think that's who's next to come across. Is that Tier is the next to set a lap?
Right, Tier has, but Muhiti did not have as good a Sector 2, purple in Sector 1, but lost time in Sector 2, so he's got to get this Wall of Champions chicane right. Crozer is purple in Sector 2, he's invalidated too much of the curb taken there. It would have been an 11.1, so he would have gotten back onto the pole, but Crozer was purple in Sector 2. What can he do in the Red Bull?
LB pushing himself up into P8 just behind his teammate here, who's about to come across the line himself. Looking like a decent time for the Red Bull driver, 1 minute 11.3, so knocks Muhiti down one more place as he takes that last spot on the front row, at least provisionally. We're about halfway through this qualifying section at the moment, so there's still plenty of time as these second runs continue to come in.
Absolutely. JBS Steve coming to the end of his lap at the Wall of Champions chicane. navigating through, very conservative, did not want to bottle that particular lap, just wants to get something on the board, and does, a 12.3, but Mr. J-Man is out of the session, so he's not going to improve. It looks like it's at turn number, is that turn 7, I think?
7, exit 7.
Very easy to lose it there, very easy.
Yeah, he's got a bit eager on the throttle, spun and hit the wall as APPF1 comes around.
He was
stricken brilliance.
He was purple in sector 1 as well, Suman. That's why, pushing too hard.
Yeah, just too eager to get that little bit of extra time there. As you watch RPM Westy coming around the circuit for his second run of this evening's qualifying session in that hat. It's a shame that they didn't add the special livery for the hats in an update this week. It would have been nice to see. I think I was talking to a friend about this. I think Haas really need to embrace their American roots as a team, I think, and really sort of dissociate themselves in the past sort of couple of years. I think just have a fresh start next season.
Definitely. They've got a new title sponsor, which is an actual company that actually exists.
Yeah. I think it's MoneyGram, an American company, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So I think that might have an influence on them over the next couple of years, and I'm hoping that Mick Schumacher does enough to stay with the team, as I do have a soft spot for the young German. As Fido Man's mapped across the line, there's not validated a lap, so we'll be waiting. So we'll carry on then with Westy as he continues that.
Get Carter was, he did in 1:11.30, he would have been P2, but he invalidated at the final chicane. So very unfortunate for the AlphaTauri driver, but we know he's got pace now, and these times looking very close at the top. It's like it's going to be a great race. Westy is invalidated as well, unfortunately. Lawrence is on a lap. He's 2/10 up on his previous best in Sector 1, coming to the end of Sector 2 now.
Still a glitched bit of Williams left on that first DRS straight there as Lawrence has come through. British chicane there. These chicanes are tricky, to say the least. I think some of the most challenging in Formula One. I think, especially as a driver, it's a very technical circuit, like you said, and you know, you've got the wall of champion chicane which just comes in thick and fast. It's so easy to invalidate there. As same with the first chicane as well, turns 3 and 4. So easy to take just that little bit too much corner there. Easy to spin on the entrance and exit of the second chicane, and easy to spin on the exit of the third as well. So there's a lot of places to catch you out around this track as Lawrence goes into P.
That was a really nice run through the final chicane from Lawrence. He gained a lot of time, 3/10 on his previous best just in the final sector. But Tier has invalidated yet again, so he's going to have to go round once again. Only 4 minutes left in the session for him to set a lap. He's got to be careful here. Of course, Tier, we know, is infamous for his track limits penalties, and this qualifying session is unfortunately no different. But Muhiti is purple in Sector 1. He is... he's not a purple sector, but he's certainly purple on the overall lap. Muhiti looking to reclaim his top spot, and Entei Mika's going to have to work hard to keep it.
He comes in around the final couple of corners. How many races left? We've got 2 after this. Verdat Tikin. I'll let you know where we're going next week once the qualifying session ends. As Muhiti comes across the line to set up his fastest time of the session at 1:10.8. First driver to get into the 1:10s in this qualifying session. Lalo Mado's coming down. He's invalidated his lap, so he'll have to go around for another trip around this circuit. Jamie F1, I don't think he's on a fast lap, even though he's not, as he's coming around. So Tier, who's still yet to set a time, he's invalidated every run he's been out on thus far, looking to try and set one this time, get himself away from the bottom. Round the final couple of quarters he comes. It's looking good for the Aston Martin driver. It's going to be a lap time set. How fast is it going to be? Only good enough for P9, but it's better than the back of the grid.
It certainly is. It's an absolutely lovely line that Muhiti took through the final chicane. That was pretty much spot on, without invalidating the lap. So that is where the others are going to have to catch up to him, I reckon. That final chicane, you can gain or lose a huge amount of time Westy is on a lap. JB is Steve. Jamie is 3.5 tenths up on his previous best in Sector 1. And he's purple in Sector 2. Jamie F1 coming out of nowhere here.
Watching JBS Steve, his teammate at the minute, coming across the final couple of corners down towards the line. It's only P9, so it knocks Tier down to P10 at the moment. How about Get Carter? He's not on a quick lap, so he'll be going again as we watch Jamie F1, who is looking like he might be threatening pole position. Not quite, but it's an 11.4, P4 for the Mercedes. That's not a bad run at all.
Very, very nice. Crozer is up as well, not purple in either of the first two sectors, but still looking like a big improvement for the Red Bull driver, who's been lacking in consistency this championship, which is very unlike him. It's a 1:11.1, puts him into P2 on the front row with Muhiti, but still quite a way off the Turkish driver's lap.
Mika's invalidated, so he won't be get a chance to improve on his previous time. So that's his qualifying session over in the APPF1 as Westy starts his final lap. There's just over a minute left of qualifying now, so there's might be a bit of time, but definitely Ente Mika is retired as well, so he'll be gutted for that.
He certainly will. Westy coming through Sector 1, see if he can improve. I do hope he doesn't finish right at the back of the grid in qualifying. It's not an improvement in Sector 1, but he's very close to his previous best, so maybe a mistake later on in the lap has put him so far down. But then again, there are a lot of drivers who are usually sort of hanging around in the bottom half of the table who aren't here today, so I hope he doesn't get too put off by him being at the back for this quali session, especially on a track that's this difficult.
Purple Sector 2 for Westy as he's coming around on his final run of the session. I don't think it'll be enough challenge for the top. Couldn't see the rest of his time, so he was only a couple of tenths up in the second sector as he crossed the line. So he'll be coming through the final chicane right about now. Decent line from the Haas there as he makes his way towards the line. This could be a decent improvement that sees him into the top 10. Not quite, it's a 1:12.2, very close toward the back there as he knocks LB down just that one place. So he's up to Lawrence. Lawrence is 7 tenths up. I was looking at the wrong track mark. That was Fido, man. Coming across the line now. Muhiti is going around again. He's got some more pace.
He's finished.
He's finished, actually.
Yeah, that's the end of his qualifying. Get Carter, though, coming over the line.
Here's Get Carter. Is it enough for pole? It's not. He's going to join his teammate, though, on lockout the second row for APPF1, which is a very good run. I'm going to move back down to Lawrence because I saw him flying through. He was 7 tenths up in the first sector and is purple at Sector 2. So this could be a decent lap time from the Alpine in these dying stages of qualifying. I guess these dead stages of qualifying, as he's the only driver left on a lap, other than maybe Lalo Mado just behind him as well.
He's about 2 tenths up on his previous best, Lawrence, so that could move him up all the way to 6th. Now close those times are in the midfield. It's looking good from the Alpine. 11.6 indeed, up to 6th place for Lawrence. He'll be decently happy with that. And LB, yeah, got disqualified for, I think he just spun around and then, while trying to get back on the track, the game decided to disqualify him. So unfortunate for him, he'll be starting at the back. But overall, a very close qualifying session, I think, especially in the midfield, but even at the top, Muhiti about 2.5 tenths clear, which doesn't always translate to race pace.
No, it certainly doesn't. And it's a 35 lap race around this tight, twisty street circuit. And so we've got plenty of action on the left to come here in Tier 2 this evening. But it's Muhiti then in the Ferrari, taking the top spot in qualifying, and is your man on pole position. He has Krauser for company, joining him in the second row in the Red Bull, with an APPF1 pairing of Ente Mika and Get Carter lining up P3 and 4. Jamie F1 sits in P5 with Lawrence joining him on that third row. Mr. J-Man and Fido Man make up position 7 and 8, with Lalo Mado and JVS Steve rounding off the top 10. Tier, RPM Resty and LB make up the rest of your grid as we go into tonight's Tier 2 race.
It's going to be a good one, I think, Sumo. Canada always throws up some unexpected moments, so we will see how it materializes. And we know definitely the two Alpha Tauris have more pace in them because of those invalidated qualifying laps at the end. So it's certainly going to be one to watch. Even if Muhiti goes clear, it's going to be a fantastic battle for second place. So we'll see. We'll have to see how it goes. It looks dry, so no rains for Tier 2 to worry about today.
Yeah, certainly so. And there's no formation lap as well, I believe. So we'll be getting straight into the action once everybody has loaded in and the game gets us going. Just waiting for everybody to take their cars and select their strategies and such. Any predictions for the race, Ghost?
Oh, I'm going to say Muhiti for the win, Ente Mika second, and Get Carter third.
I'm going to say Ente Mika for the win, with Muhiti third, and I'm going to say, Muhiti second, Krauser third.
That's yeah, I think that could easily happen. I think it's just I do hope Krauser finds the consistency to make that prediction come true. But at the moment, recently he's been a bit off it. So yeah, hopefully he can find it today. But here we go.
We are 3, 4, 5 red lights for the Canadian Grand Prix here in Tier 2, and away we go. A great start from Muhiti, an awful start from Ente Mika, and he's actually spun and crashed. I'm not sure exactly what's happened there. I think he might have ghosted through some cars, but I think he's still in the race at the moment. But that's an awful start for the Alpha Tauri, and a possible safety car in the early laps, and then some drama further back as a Mercedes has gone spinning as well. I didn't quite catch that, but a lot of action already on these opening laps of this Grand Prix. LB cutting the corner there and probably having to give some places back to the drivers that he overtook. I'll try and get some details up for you in a minute. There's a lot of carnage going on at the moment.
Oh, and Tears round as well, just to add to it, at turn 7. And he has to get himself back on the circuit. But yeah, disaster for Ente Mika. I'm not quite sure what happened. LB up to P6. We have Lawrence with front wing damage, Westy with front wing damage, Lalo, Ente Mika and Tia all with front wing damage.
Wow. And no safety car in sight there. That is a shock. I thought there might have at least been a virtual. But LB up 7 positions after all that carnage on this opening lap at the moment, as the top 3 have just sput off from everybody else after that crazy start. And it looks like Westy is challenging the Red Bull, looking at the outside. It's not quite going to work there, I don't think. I think he's pitting as well, with having damage on these opening laps in all that carnage. Then Lawrence in the pits, Westy in the pits, Lalo Maddo in the pits. Everybody sort themselves out as Tier also comes in. Muhiti then being challenged already by Krauser. 5/10 is the gap at the moment. No DRS until that third lap, of course. So Muhiti's just got to try and break out if he can. Let's have a look at the starting tyres as well, if we can. A lot of drivers opted to start on the hard tyres. I think 9 of our drivers on the hards, with 3 on the mediums. Well, no, they've all changed now, I suppose, because of pit stops. But everybody's starting on hards across the board. Other than Krauser on the mediums, getting a bit more aggressive. So,
yeah, absolutely. Westy opting for the softs in the pit lane, so obviously hoping for a safety car. Yeah, Krauser very close to the back of that Ferrari. He's really making those mediums work and putting pressure on the Turkish driver early on. But yeah, did you say that Ente Mika spun at the start? Because I think that might explain a lot of things, because I saw Lawrence braked and tried to swerve as if he was avoiding something, so I assume that was the spinning Ente Mika in front.
Yeah, I think what it looked like to me is, if we have a safety car, I'll have a closer look back on it, but it looked like he got a terrible start, tried to make up for it as the second phase started, but obviously gave it a bit too much, lost traction and spun into the wall.
Yeah, that's very unlucky, and he's caused a huge amount of carnage at the start. So unfortunate for him, unfortunate for everyone who's had to change their wing early as well, except here he's spun all on his own.
Yes, it's in Tier fashion. He looks like a spin result here. As watch Fido Man chasing down LB in that Red Bull for 5th position at the moment. It's quite calm at the minute toward the front. There's a few little battles going on. There's a fight between the two Mercedes drivers and Entei Mika for P7 at the moment, as he tries to break away from his teammates JBS Steve. Crowds are getting a little bit closer now, so really trying to put the pressure on Muhiti with those medium tyres. And of course he's got the advantage of DRS, and of course it's a double DRS zone as you come down to turn 1.
Certainly is, so you can take full advantage of it. Tito Man trying to maybe look for a move at LB, but not quite close enough to make that happen. Crozer, interestingly...
and there goes Jamie F1, he's gone for a spin. Sorry, goes to cut you off as he's come out of turn 1 there. Entei Mika lucky to avoid the spinning Mercedes. He was looking like he was on the attack anyway, and that's a shame for Jamie. He's just going to have to get his head back down and settle into this race.
Yeah, certainly is. I can also say Tia is going to have a very, very long day because he has rear wing damage on that Aston Martin, which is going to be a nightmare for him. Jamie spins again on those hot tyres, really struggling to get going in this race. He's had a nightmare of a start, and this is shades of, I can't remember which track it was, but oh, as Lalo spins just ahead of him at turn 7 as well, same place that Tia went. So that McLaren back on the road again. But yeah, Jamie, I seem to remember had a race like this a few weeks ago. Spun at the start and then just kept spinning over and over. So hopefully that doesn't happen again, and he can get back in the groove.
Tito Man on the hunt once again. He looked very close coming into the World of Champions game. It has dropped back again, so still not close enough to mount any attacks into turn 1 at the moment. As they come through, he's got the cars of JBS Steve and Entei Mika closing in on him as well, so this can turn into a 4-car battle for P5 if JBS Steve can find some pace and close up a little bit more. Let's get Carter has fallen back a little bit. Mr. J-Man all on his own at the moment in P4, just cruising along.
Yeah, he's big gap to anyone in front, big gap to anyone behind. Pretty similar for Get Carter, really. He's not really close to the top 2, but a long way back to Mr. J-Man. So could be some lonely races in store. As Crozer, here he goes.
He's going to look toward the outside as Mahiti defends that inside line, but he's way too close to the exit of the hairpin and gets himself ahead way before the corner comes up, and he'll have DRS again, so a good chance to open up that gap now. He's got to keep that consistency and continue to try and push ahead if he wants to keep Muhiti away from him and make the most of this stint on the mediums. The first of the time penalties has come in as well, as Lalo Mado gets the time penalty.
Tito straight afterwards.
Tito as well. Expect a few more of those to come raining down on our drivers at the minute. JBS Steve's on the attack as well. He's not quite close enough to make a move on Entei Mika. Tito Man, he's got that penalty now, so his bout for P5 at the moment is going to be that little bit harder.
Muhiti going to have DRS on the run to turn 8, but I think this may be the last time that he gets it, because Crozer is so fast on those medium tyres. So it makes you wonder, is Muhiti going to be able to unlock the medium pace as well later on in this race? And we've just passed the detection point. He was more than a second behind, so no DRS for Muhiti, and huge chance for Crozer. He has to open this gap right now, because this is going to be his chance to put as many laps between him and Muhiti actually battling at the end of this race as he can.
Yeah, he's got to make the most of those medium tyres while they're in a good operating window, because once they fall off, then it will be the advantage for those on the hard tyres. And of course, as he's on the more aggressive strategy, everybody else will be on that softer rubber toward the end of the race.
Yep, as Tito nearly goes for a spin at the Wall of Champions. This could allow Entei Mika to have a go, but there's no ERS on that AlphaTauri. So he's going to struggle to make any sort of headway on these two drivers ahead of him after his disastrous start.
Yeah, Entei Mika is now caught onto the back of this battle for P5, so 3 cars vying for that position, one of them with a time penalty already. And there's a massive crash coming round that corner. It was completely unsighted, and Tito Man is out of this race. There is no ring on the front of that AlphaTauri, and that is a safety car. Oh, wow. We did not see what happened there at all, but I think Tito Man and Ente Mika might have went side by side for a moment, and that caused some sort of collision as they came through turn 5 we could not see at all. I'm sure that'll be in the steward's room a little bit later on, but this race is now neutralised, and Krauser will not be happy with that one.
He certainly won't, but he's going to get onto the hard tyres and probably go to the end. I think that's he's pitting now. Muriti stays out, and yeah, Krauser onto the hards. He's going to go all the way to the end. So very interesting strategy battle coming up. He's going to exit, I think, P4 as Ente Mika comes in as well. Obviously, he gets a speeding penalty as well. I don't know if that means he's going to retire. It usually does if they speed in the pit lane. Front wing change, but no retirement for Ente Mika, so just a bit too overzealous on entry. But yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. I cut to them just too late to see exactly what happened. I just saw Ente T-boning Tito as Tito was already round. So I don't know if Tito spun and then Ente struggled to avoid him, or something like that. It's difficult to say.
Yeah, Ente was very close to the exit of turn 4 from what I saw on the timing boards, as Lalo and Tia are also coming to the pits, the same as Westy as well, so they'll all be back in this race, but Tia, of course, nursing rear wing damage at the moment. But yeah, the camera view changed on my stream just as they came out around turn 5, and as they appeared in sight, that's when I saw a stricken Alpine and a wounded AlphaTauri.
Indeed. Well, it's certainly hurt both of them, but obviously Tito Man is going to be gutted. That's, I believe, his first DNF of the season. So that's really unfortunate for him. Comes us down to 12 drivers. But yeah, I would be interested to see that one again, because I'm not entirely sure what happened. Whether Tito was just a bit slow out of turn 4 and Ente just tapped him, or whether Tito had already spun. It's very difficult to say. So I'm sure we'll see it later on in the stewards. But yeah.
Let us know what happened if you are around in the chat, Tito Man. It would be very interesting for us to know, as we didn't get the best of views of the incident. But I'll take some responsibility for that one, as I did mention his 100% finishing record, which has sadly come to an end with today's crash. Commentator's curse strikes once again in Tier 2.
Oh, I've been cursing everyone like you wouldn't believe the last month. Sumo. It has been a bloodbath. It really has. Especially Tier. I've cursed him about 4 times. And I've been sort of, I've sort of signed a pact. Just don't mention Tier at all. Just don't say anything about him. Because every time I mention him,
don't show him on stream. Don't do anything.
Yeah, exactly. I've said that if he's in first, I'll just say whoever's in second is winning the race, and then just move on from there, and just completely ignore him as if he doesn't exist.
But Rick says it's a long way for the hard tyres to go, which would be very true, I think.
Yeah.
As the hard tyres probably would have been changed around lap 50, probably a bit later than that, actually.
In this lap, that's very early.
Yeah, incredibly early. Wait, is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Is it already in the pit lane?
No, it's still going around.
What?
Yeah, the safety car's still out on track at the moment.
Oh, that is a bug. Oh no.
Oh gosh.
It said it would be in this lap.
I'm hoping it means it's going to come in this lap. The lights are off on the car.
That is...
Maybe the call came in just a bit too early.
Yeah, that is... Oh, I don't like that one. Codemasters, shed some light, please, because we have no idea what's happened here. I really hope it comes in at the end of this lap, because if it's bugged, then we could be looking at sort of well, I don't know what we could be looking at. We could be looking at anything. No idea.
Never happened before. And the almost customary Codemasters bug here in Tier 2. We're very accustomed to those now. We get way too many. We'll wait and see what the safety car does as it comes around. I'm hoping Muhiti's going to slow the pack down as he comes out of the hairpin here and give it enough time to run off. And he's done exactly that. So they're going to be warming up those tyres, weaving left, right to really get the temperature in. Let's see what the safety car does. I'm looking at the map. Please do not go through the chicane safety car. It's in the pit lane, so we're okay. Heart in the mouth stuff there as an early call from race control gets us worried at the moment. But when will Muhiti go? Likely at the exit of the chicane. As he gets this race back underway, he's waiting a little bit more. He's going to go at the very last moment. And as he goes, start this race off once again, and it's a very clean restart from a bunch of them. Ente Mika and Jamie F1 trading positions already, with Jamie F1 losing the place to the AlphaTauri driver side by side through the second corner. Lawrence and J-Man has spun around and on the restart of this race, and there's a lot of carnage going on a bit further through in the field as LB tries to make up a position coming through the chicane as well, but no luck for the Red Bull driver as the AlphaTauri goes up the inside of LB now. Side by side they go, and almost free right. Lucky to not have contact. That is incredibly close racing there, and very good reactions from the drivers at the moment as they went through that chicane. Just now Ente Mika's on those softer tyres, so he's got a little bit more of an advantage over as he almost goes into the back of LB, and I think he actually does. And a lot of other cars go to the back of each other as well, as Lalo Mado with no wing spins. Tier has been caught up in that action as well. But a lot of going on this restart as we've gone through the middle sector. But Muhiti keeping Get Carter at bay for now.
What a safety car restart for Lawrence, just among everything else. JBS Steve now trying to go around the outside of Crozer into the wall of champions. Surely not. He's made it work though. Crozer backed out of that as Get Carter takes the lead of the race. Muhiti unable to keep him behind, and Get Carter into turn 1 takes the lead. It's absolute pandemonium on this safety car restart, and there was all sorts happening at turn 7. I can't recite it all. I caught it all on my stream, so if you want to watch it on the onboards, then have a look. But Lawrence with a 3-second time penalty undoes all his good work. Yeah, wow, what an absolute chaotic restart. Disaster for Tier and Lalo Mado in particular. But wow, and a lot of drivers with damage, Sumo.
Yeah, certainly. So I'm keeping an eye on Ente Mika. He's causing a lot of stir in the midfield at the moment on that softer rubber as he's trying to hunt down Krauser, who's struggling to stay behind JBS Steve at the minute. And he's got a Mercedes for company as well. So a lot going on there. It's a very audacious dive down the inside and almost into the wall, and it takes Ente Mika out as well as he tries to capitalise on those two going side by side. He gets spun around and he's not going to be too happy with that.
I don't think there was much that either driver could do about that, really. Crozer sort of went into the wall and caught Ente off guard, but it's not like Crozer cut him off or anything, so wow.
Damage.
Yeah, damage to that Red Bull
as well.
This is pandemonium, Sumo. What is going on? Ever since the safety car, it's been just everything's been happening. Yeah, Canada, very, very tough racetrack, it's safe to say.
Yeah, it certainly is, but no lack of entertainment as we continue through this race. As Muhiti looks to chase down Get Carter. He's staying with him for now, which is good. DRS is activated now, so he's got that little extra advantage to try and stay with him, and he's not a slow driver as Muhiti, so he'll be looking to go on the challenge for that penalty. Is going to see him a little bit further down than he hopes, possibly at the end of this race, but I'm sure there's more time penalties left to go. It's already over half the grid have time penalties.
Not even halfway through this race, Sumo. It feels like we've watched 2 races.
Here comes Muhiti. He's going to go down the inside as we go to the Wall of Champions. He's already got it done before the corner. He'll have the DRS again as he exits that particular chicane. And Get Carter is using all of his battery perhaps to try and catch up. Or Muhiti's used a bit too much of his, but that DRS just giving him that little extra space to keep the AlphaTauri at bay at the moment, but differences in battery this can come down to as this fight continues, as LB is very close to the back of Jamie F1 in the Mercedes. I think he's lost that place to the Mercedes, it seems, in the scuffle there. Krauser is going to be kicking himself at the moment. He's found himself back on the medium tyre and way down the order.
Yeah, I think Krauser's probably going to blame Jamie for that one, I think, because Jamie came steaming in to the hairpin and Krauser had to avoid him. Jamie went deep and then Krauser was already on a wide line, so maybe he will feel wronged by that particular one, but he's plenty of time to recover, especially if there's another safety car, which I have to say is extremely likely. But Westy, LB and Jamie right next to each other at the moment, as well as Get Carter looking to make a move on Muhiti into turn 1 perhaps.
Yeah, he's all over the back of that Ferrari, looking close enough as well. It's the straight long enough for him to get him into the braking zone. It's not quite, as Get Carter just stays tucked behind now, but that's all he's got to do. If the race were to finish now, Get Carter would be your race winner on penalties at the moment, but like we say, we're still not quite halfway through this race yet, and there's plenty more action to come. And there's a huge fight brewing here in the midfield as JBS Steve leads the train that is made up of his teammate LB and RPM Westy.
Yeah, it's looking rather satisfying, that leaderboard, isn't it? Penalty, no penalty, penalty, no penalty, penalty, no penalty. Lala Matters, that's the fastest lap at the back of the grid. No one to compete with is Jamie.
Here we go!
On his teammate into turn 7, that would have been quite the move, or was that's turn 8, isn't it? Sorry. But down towards the hairpin they go. I think Jamie's going to go for this down the inside. Tries to go for the send, but JB is caught unawares, and Jamie sort of scares his teammate off the road. JB gets the better launch though, and down towards the chicane, it's Jamie with the DRS though, and JB's going to struggle to hold this position. The two Mercedes side by side, LB as well, looking to make it 3 wide on the entrance to the chicane. Jamie keeps the place, and JB loses 2. How they've all managed to get through there unscathed, I do not know.
And here comes Westy as well, looking to get a move on JBS Steve, but not quite for the Haas at the moment as they come through turn 2 now. But that was an incredibly exciting sequence of corners there as Get Carter has got back into the lead.
Some intel from the Discord. Tito Man has apologised to Ente Mika, so clearly no coming together there, just Tito losing the car. So unfortunate for Ente, but that is racing sometimes, especially on a track like this, as Westy looking to really get past JB as soon as he can. There is side pod damage on that Haas, but you wouldn't guess it. He's looking pretty good.
Yeah, he certainly is. I think the fresher rubber is really helping him out, and JBS Steve just seems to have lost a little bit of pace amongst these guys, and Mr. J-Man's catching back up as well. He's sort of slowly on that recovery drive in that Williams at the moment as we come down toward the Wall of Champions for the 17th time this race at the minute. A lot happened for that Tika, I should say. A safety car, a lot of carnage, and some great racing as well.
Yeah, it's been...
Why is Krauser 10th? Yeah, safety car.
Yeah, why is Krauser 10th? Got caught up in an incident, that is why. Who is that spun? It's Tier, he's retired at the... Is that the Wall of Champions? It is. And Lalo's gone as well in the same place. Car. 2 victims of the Wall of Champions. And safety car again.
Wow, another safety car. Then I did say this would happen. That's Tito Man now in the chat. Sorry for that, guys. Somebody very so far is helping. Yeah, his helping Lawrence pull away a little bit. He's in the podium positions at the moment, but we neutralise the race once more, bringing out the safety car after Tier is claimed at the Wall of Champions.
get Carter into the pits. Muhiti in as well. Lawrence in just behind. Lawrence is doing really well. What a restart he had from the safety car. Lalo's retired. He's crashed under the safety car, which is quite the achievement.
Turn 7.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate for him. Lawrence back out. They're all on the mediums, so yeah, they can definitely make it to the end, the mediums. Mr. J-Man, a 5-second penalty for severe collision. That must have been on entrance to the pit lane, I would imagine. Ente Miko is DNF. I think he's retired in the pits. Yeah, he has. I mean, we're down to 9 drivers already. This is certainly an action-packed Grand Prix, but it's also been quite the difficult one for Tier 2. But I mean, Canada. You sort of come to expect this sort of race from Canada.
RPM Westy finds himself leading this race. It's his first race here in Tier 2, and he is currently leading around the pack just behind that Aston Martin safety car here. I'm not sure he thought he would be here on debut, but I've seen stranger things happen in Tier 2. I've been here since the very start, so but Westy leading his first laps, but they're under safety car.
Indeed. Well, I wonder if we're going to see him come in, or if he's going to try and take those hards all the way. If I were him, I'd probably try and take them all the way, because his medium's already 8 laps, well, not quite 8 laps old, but they're certainly not fresh. So I wonder how much he can do. Lawrence has, yeah, he came into mediums. Tier has left the session, obviously. He's out.
He stayed out.
He stayed out, Westy, so he's going all the way to the end on these hard tyres. That's the plan. So we'll see how that works for him. Those guys on the mediums just behind him are going to swallow him up, but that could cause more carnage if they try and overtake him in poor positions on the track. So we will see. Yeah, I mean, the last safety car restart was certainly something, so we'll see if a similar events happen for this one. But yeah, pretty much everyone on the same tyres now.
Just 2 Verdat, just 2 safety cars thus far. This is number 2 at the moment, and I was going to say something, and I forgot what I was going to say. That's it. I think Mr. J-Man might look to get his 5-second penalty removed, as long as he doesn't come into the pits, of course. As I think what happened is Ente must have gone into the back of him on entrance to the pit lane, giving them both a 5-second time penalty. So I think J-Man will be well within his rights to get that penalty removed.
Did you look back at it?
I didn't see it. I didn't see it happen on my stream, unfortunately. But that must have been what happened, because J-Man was in front, Ente behind, and if it's a severe collision, perhaps. But I don't know. I won't know until that footage is released later on.
Well, we will see. We're about to get underway, though. The safety car is coming in this lap. So it's Westy's decision when to punch it.
Yeah, will he go late like we did? No, he's gone now, straight away, trying to catch people sleeping as he goes through, trying to get the temperature in to those tyres early as possible, and it's a decent restart. No big jostling, although it looks like a Red Bull and a Mercedes going toe-to-toe once again, as LB looks to cut the inside of JBS Steve. Oh, that's a closing door, a little bit of contact there as well. But just a little bit of racing argy-bargy, I think, there. As LB onto the grass as he's going to go up the inside. Into the chicane, and he's around!
He's got to expect that going down the inside of turn 3. I've got to say, that is something that can very easily happen, and Jamie will probably feel that he had no choice. But we'll see that in the stewards, I am absolutely positive. As Westy under pressure from Carter at the front. Muhiti still there as well. Lawrence sticking with them. Jamie has dropped back a huge amount. He got caught sleeping at the safety car restart.
Yeah, he certainly did. Came under threat from LB. He's not going to be too happy with that spin, but get Carter all over the back of Westy already. And that He led the race for a little while, but it was a short-lived stint at the front as the AlphaTauri sweeps past before the corner, and it looks like the Ferrari is set to do the same as Muhitti's closes in on the back of that Haas.
That will have been a track limits warning for Muhitti at the chicane. He definitely went too close to the inside of the left-hander. So it remains to be seen if he gets up to 6 seconds, but he's going to go for it into turn 3, just like LB, but this time, in this case, he is a lot further ahead than LB was, and he's able to make that move. Westy down to P3, and now under pressure from the Alpine of Lawrence. Westy with a poor getaway in turns 6 and 7, and this could be the opportunity. Lawrence up to P3, Westy swallowed up, down to P4 he goes.
P4 wouldn't be a bad result if he were to finish the race there. He's got a Jamie F1 about 2-3 seconds almost down the road as we go along, but Muhitti looking to close that gap upwards and get Carter at the minute, but it won't matter as we look at penalties now. It's 3 seconds for positions 2 to 5 with a 5-second penalty for Mr. J-Man, which could possibly get removed.
I've got some more intel for you, Suma. Tier has said in my chat, he says, my bad, had slight rear wing damage from lap 1, which, yeah, we noticed that on the telemetry. DRS is enabled now. Mr. J-Man right in the back of JBSC. He also says, don't know if that had to do with my DNF, ultimately me too early on the throttle and got on the curb. And also Ente Mika in the Discord, he says, sorry for everyone I hit today, was not my day. He overslept the start, thought it was a formation lap, and then got stuck in the traffic, so that explains the start. Yeah, so unfortunate for him, but Mr. J-Man could be going for a move here into turn 6. No, backs out, very sensible from Mr. J-Man, looking for a better place to make that move, which could be the run to turn 8. He's got DRS open, ERS is enabled, down the inside he goes. JB has to go on the grass to avoid him. He might feel that J-Man cut him off the track there, but we will see. Mr. J-Man does get up into P6 though.
And Krauser on the hunt again. He's having a look. That would be a turning of the tables there, going into that corner between those two. But I think it was JBSD.
It was Jamie. It was Jamie.
Well, I mean, Mercedes, Red Bull.
Yeah, same thing.
Same corner, you know.
I always said they're the same person anyway.
Yeah, more or less.
Muhitti's really fallen off, get Carter.
Yeah, he has. I think Carter got past in a much better position, and Muhitti just hasn't been able to close up at the moment. But I'm sure
Oh, Mr. J-Man.
Oh no,
Spinning.
Mr. J-Man's race going worse once again. It looks like my return has cursed the Williams driver to having poor form in the races and not the best qualifying either. J-Man not having the best time, but he finds himself now with LB, who will be surprised to see a fellow driver this far down.
Yeah, well, unfortunate for him, but LB, obviously they're both going to be hoping for a safety car later on. Muhitti, is he in DRS range? He hasn't gotten the DRS, but he's very, very close. And Lawrence looking really, really good today. It was a below par qualifying for him, but in the race, as always, he has been fantastic on race pace. And you can see that flashing red light on the Ferrari in front. Muhitti is vulnerable, and Lawrence is looking to make this move right now. He's using the ERS down the inside into turn 1. What a move from Lawrence if he can pull it off, and he does. Brilliant stuff from the Alpine up to P2. Muhitti really struggling at the moment.
Yeah, certainly Muhitti not where he is at the moment. He's used a little bit too much ERS throughout most of this race, where perhaps he didn't need to use too much. There's not too many long straights at this circuit, so ERS should really be easy to manage around here.
Big mistake from Westy in Sector 1. It's seen him lose about 3 seconds and the position to Jamie F1, and now Crozer perhaps in range. Muhitti trying to stick with Lawrence, but his race pace is just not up to par on these medium tyres. He's not liking these tyres at all, and of course he's got that penalty. Get Carter is in a fantastic position here. He's got no penalties. He's over a second ahead of Lawrence, And I do have a Get Carter supporter in the chat as well. So it's all coming up for the AlphaTauri.
Yeah, it certainly is. He's leading this race at the moment, but there's still plenty of laps to go. We've got 11 laps left of this race, and you better get back into shape as West is coming to the pit lane, or that's going to give you a smack. So Westy's retired from the session. It's such a shame from the Haas driver. He was doing fairly well, but perhaps a few too many mistakes.
Yeah.
As we now go down to 8 drivers left in this race, and it's a 3-car battle for the lead as Lawrence looks to be closing in on Get Carter.
It's just classic Canada, really, isn't it? It's you usually see a fair few retirements on this track, and today is no different. But unfortunate for the newbie for his race to end in the pit lane. But Muhiti and Lawrence still trying to stick on the back of Get Carter, but there's a distinct lack of ERS between the three of them, so they might find it difficult to make any moves. Lawrence does not have DRS though, so he's going to lose out on this straight towards the final chicane. Get Carter doing enough, and Lawrence with another time penalty. He's now up to 6 seconds, and his chances of winning this race have just taken a huge blow.
Yeah, certainly Muhiti will want to now get ahead of him, or at least stay close, especially if Lawrence does make a move, because he's still entitled to race Get Carter, but it may not be the most strategically sensible thing to do in terms of keeping the highest position possible. But he'll still get a podium as he's far enough ahead of Jamie, and Jamie also has a time penalty as well. But I wonder what Get Carter is on in terms of penalties or warnings at the moment, if it's on any.
I can check. I will check that for you right now.
Oh, it's Lawrence goes deep into the 3rd chicane there. That's turn 9 as he practically cuts it. That might be another warning for the Alpine.
Get Carter has 1 warning, and it was on lap 1.
Wow.
So he is looking formidable right now.
Yeah, certainly. I think taking it easy around this track does pay dividends, especially if you're fast.
Absolutely. And he is certainly fast at the moment. Muhiti is going to be wondering, where did my qualifying pace go? Because on qualifying it looked like he was going to run away with this race, but he was challenged by Crozer at the start. Of course, Crozer on the better tyres, but by far. But Muhiti still was unable to keep up with the Red Bull early on. Then the safety car came out, and then ever since then he just hasn't been on the pace at all. He's being sort of showed up here by Get Carter and Lawrence, unable to make any headway on either of them.
Yeah, certainly. Fando's asking what Muhiti's warnings are looking like at the moment. We'll might chat over here. Have a look at that. But yeah, Get Carter is looking very fast, and Entei did look fast while he was in the race as well. So I'll be interested to see how he goes and these closing races, and as when we get into season 6 at some point in the near future.
Muhiti is on 5 warnings, so 1 more, and he will be on 6 seconds with Lawrence as well. He got 2 warnings in 1 lap earlier on, as he very late braking, and there it is. There is that final warning. 6 seconds for Muhiti. There's still 8 laps to go in this race, so there's many more opportunities to get more penalties, so it's certainly not over yet, but parity between 2nd and 3rd, both on 6 seconds.
It was around lap 25 he was retired in the pit.
That Westy?
Yeah, it was Westy, yes. Somebody asked when the DNF was a few laps ago. But very spread out towards the back, not too many drivers left in this race at the moment. It's all eyes on the top 3 at the minute. As Get Carter looks pretty safe, and he doesn't have to feel that pressure too much, as the guys behind him both have 6 seconds of time penalties. Unless Get Carter makes a huge mistake in these closing laps, I think that race win is his.
Oh no, now you've done it.
I have done it, yeah.
Lawrence did get DRS this lap, so it was just close enough. to get in that 1 second range, which will, if he can keep it, it will help him in the battle against Muhiti for P2. But as you say, get Carter in a very strong position here. All he has to do is not make any major errors. Crozer also in a strong position. He's looking to take P4 from Jamie after penalties. And if he can get another 6 seconds on the top 3, so if something happens between them or they start fighting, then Crozer, he's still got an outside shot at this podium because he's looking decent on pace on those hard tyres as LB gets himself another penalty at the back.
Too affecting him too much toward the back of the grid at the moment. But Muhiti and Lawrence, of course, with both being on 6 seconds of time penalties, they are racing for position. And Lawrence doing everything he can to close up on Get Carter now. And this could get interesting as we come down toward the Water Champions.
Here we go, it's going to be DRS open, no ERS on either of those cars, so I don't think Lawrence is going to make this move. He doesn't have anything left in the tank, neither does Get Carter, but he's not close enough to the back of that AlphaTauri and he has to back out, and lack of ERS makes it very difficult to overtake on tough tracks like these, which are already difficult to overtake at the best of times.
Yeah, certainly, so ERS management is vitally important for keeping good pace. Is that once you lose that battery charge, you lose a significant amount of the power in the car, as a lot of it does come from that battery charge with these turbo hybrid engines in the cars.
Slight error from Lawrence in the exit of turn 2, too much curb, but managed to save the car. Crozer with a 3-second time penalty, so there goes his bid for the podium, I would have thought. But Jamie also got another one. He's up to 9 seconds, so he's going to drop all the way down to 6th, maybe even 7th, if J-Man can get that penalty removed. Lawrence still right in the back of this AlphaTauri, but again, I just don't think he's got enough ERS to really make any sort of move here. He's going to have DRS open, but there's not much he can do.
No, Muhiti's just going to sit there. If Muhiti was... Muhiti should really be saving some battery and waiting to pounce on these two, because I think they're going to use a bit more battery fighting each other, and Muhiti can take advantage of that if he just saves a little bit of battery on these last few laps.
Looks like ERS is very, very difficult to save. They're barely using any in the whole lap, and yet they're not gaining any. So that's useful intel for Tier 1 later this week.
Yeah, certainly so.
Yeah, Muhiti, at the moment, he would gain 18 points for coming in 3rd. He nearly just loses it, though, at the exit of turn 7. Just had to correct a little bit there, but who has the fastest lap? It is Lalan Maddow, but then it goes to the next best, which is Lawrence. So Lawrence, as it stands, would get the extra point. Yeah, and I don't think they're going to beat that lap towards the end of this race, as Lawrence nearly spins it at the hairpin as well, but manages to keep it going. It's very tricky out there, and Lawrence, by the way, he still has minor front wing damage. I don't know if he knows, he didn't repair it in the pit lane, but he's doing very, very well in that Alpine.
Yeah, certainly so. I mean, wing damage doesn't affect the car too much in this year's game compared to previous years. But I'm sure he'd be at least feeling it a little bit, especially with how twisty this circuit is.
Yeah, definitely. And it could be a factor in his time penalties as well. As Mr. J-Man now gets 3 seconds, and he's not going to get that one removed. Muhiti still putting pressure on this Alpine as they go through, but again, nearly losing it there. At 32 of 35. I do wonder if LB is going to think about coming into the pits for the fastest lap at the end. He's still at the back. He's not looking like he's going to catch Mr. J-Man, so and he's got 6 seconds of penalties. So if I were him, I'd come in lap 30, lap 33 maybe, go for fastest lap. But we don't know how much intel he has, of course, as DRS open once again, but no one close enough to make moves.
Just a bit of a procession as we end, coming to the dying stages of the race. But still a big three-car fight for the lead. But it's not much of a fight. It's mostly this fight for those final 2 places on the podium for P2 and P3 respectively. As Muhiti looks to chase down Lawrence, and the ERS advantage goes to Lawrence at the minute with 22%.
He saved it up pretty well, looking to maybe go for a move. And we'll say as well, both Lawrence and Muhiti on 7 warnings as it stands, so they're not in immediate danger of another penalty, but it's all too easy to get a couple of warnings on this track, so it's not over yet, but Lawrence could be looking to deploy that battery on this straight leading up to the final chicane as Get Carter not very early, but Lawrence very late breaking into the hairpin, and yeah, the ERS is deployed. They go onto the straight. Is Lawrence going to be able to make anything happen here into the Wall of Champions chicane? Get Carter is going to maybe let him through, I would expect. Here we go, down towards the Wall of Champions. Get Carter indeed just lets the Alpine through. He knows that there's time penalties on that car, and he just needs to stick with him now to win this race.
And Muhiti won't be happy to have a car in between him and his rival here at the moment, as those two are racing, but Get Carter just has to finish this race without any penalties, well, at least 6 seconds of penalties, and he'll be fine.
Yeah, not long to go. 1.5 laps now. These three still locked together, but it's going to be penalties. Muhiti's gone. He's lost it.
Oh!
He's bottled it with 2 laps to go. 1.5 laps to go. He's got a big enough gap to not actually lose any positions from it, especially with Jamie having 12 seconds of penalties. But maybe could be in danger from Crozer here, because Crozer has only 3 seconds. So if Muhiti again makes another mistake, he could be in danger. But that is certainly his chance at first or second gone. Get Carter is going to go for it again here on Lawrence, and he's going to make that move on lap 34 straight ahead. I think there's much less downforce on that AlphaTauri, and comfortable move from him back into the lead. 1 lap to go.
Wow, drama again in the closing stages of the race. Muhiti bottles it, and will keep an eye on the time between himself and Krauser at the minute. Perhaps some damage on the Ferrari. We don't quite know. I can't see any damage. At least not.
Slight front wing damage according to the telemetry, but obviously not major. If you can't see it on the telemetry, contact between Lawrence and Get Carter. Lawrence hitting the back of the AlphaTauri, just being caught off guard there, but luckily no spinning happening on the final lap. I bet Lawrence would have had his heart in his mouth there as he hit the back of that AlphaTauri, but nothing happening. And we go on to the final straight of, well, the final back straight of the Grand Prix. And Get Carter looking fantastic to win this race. It's his second race win of the season it would be.
Oh, and an incredible performance it was. A great restart saw him claim the lead of this race from Muhiti, and while he won't be near him enough in the points to make an impact, it'd be a race win for the AlphaTauri as he comes across the line. It's going to be a photo finish almost as the two of them come across the line at more or less the same time. But Get Carter is your race winner here at Canada, with Lawrence taking second place. Does Muhiti manage to hold on to that final place on the podium? It looks like
it's going to be close.
It's going to be close.
What's the gap? 4 tenths.
4 tenths.
Wow, very, very close. So Muhiti keeps those 2 points that he would have otherwise lost. 18 points. It will give him a 14-point championship lead with 2 rounds to go. So Muhiti with, well, not really one hand on the title, but certainly the advantage. As LB did pit for fastest lap and gets it on the final lap. Takes it away from Lawrence, and we'll get that extra point for Red Bull.
It's going to make the last 2 races of this Tier 2 championship all the more interesting, especially if Pommy Alex can make the both of them. as he finishes off the championship in his bid to be a Tier 2 champion among the likes of Tin Oz and Bumblebee, and I'm trying to remember some more. Harass, there we go. As Get Carter then comes through the tunnel to take his second win here in Tier 2 as he takes the top step of the podium, flanked of course by Lawrence and Muhiti in positions 2 and 3 respectively, lifting up the trophy as he wins this race.
Very, very punishing race in Canada today, but well done to everyone who finished what was a carnage-filled Grand Prix for the first half, and then everything settled down in the second half, but it was still very tense all the way to the end with those three battling for the podium. But I'll let you run through the orders, Sumo.
Certainly so. So Get Carter then takes the top step as he wins the Canadian Grand Prix here in Tier 2, with Lawrence and Muhiti making up the podium after a grueling race around the circuit in Sheffield now. Krauser and JBS Steve round off the top 5, with Jamie F1, Mr. J-Man and LB rounding off the rest of the finishers. RPM Wesley, Ente Mika, Lalo Mado, Tier and Fido Man make up the drivers who did not finish this race.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got to pick a driver of the day, Sumo. Who do you think?
Oh, you know, I think I'll give it to Get Carter. I think he did everything right after that restart, and I think he didn't. He was around drivers that maybe just bottled it a little too much and played his advantage to perfection. Yeah,
I'd agree with that. I mean, Lawrence also has a claim after that absolutely phenomenal safety car restart. It really was. He just came out of nowhere and was suddenly in third place and managed to keep with the front runners. But I do think Get Carter edges him out. No penalties on that AlphaTauri. One warning the whole race, and just bossed it really. After those two safety cars, after it all settled down, he never looked in trouble. So yeah, I have to agree with that one. Get Carter, brilliant race from him.
Yeah, consistency is the key in Formula 1, and especially so at a circuit like Canada, where the race can be, the finishing positions can be decided by the time and the penalties that you collect throughout the race. We've got 2 rounds left to go of this Tier 2 championship. We've got a title fight on our hands between the 2 Ferrari drivers, just 14 points between the 2 of them as we go into the final 2 rounds. We are in Monza on the 1st of November for a race around Temple of Speed, so tune in same time next week to see this battle for the Tier 2 championship continue, and hopefully Pommy Alex can make the race so it can be a little bit more interesting as far as the championship is concerned. Any final thoughts, guys?
Not too much beyond what you've already said. So do you want a quick run through the standings?
Yes, let's have a quick run through of the standings.
So we've got Muhiti obviously on 158 points, leading the way. Pommy Alex on 144, as you say, 14 points behind with 2 rounds to go. JBS Steve in P3 on 119, and Lawrence on 118, just behind him. So a titanic battle for 3rd place in the championship. Tito Man sticking on 105. He's still 5th place after today's unfortunate disaster, really. Jamie F1 then in 6th with 90. Crozer on 88 in 7th. Mr. J-Man moves up 2 spots to 8th on 73. Lalo Mado on 71. Get Carter jumps up 7 spots after that win. He's on 70 points and he gets into the top 10 in the championship, and that's where I'll leave it. But yeah, so looking like an interesting championship battle. Muhiti has not been Mr. Consistent really this particular season, so anything could still happen between those 2 Ferrari boys, and I do think 2 rounds to go, they have a 79 point lead. I don't think we're going to see team orders between those 2.
No, I think it's going to be wheel-to-wheel stuff from start to end in these final 2 rounds of Tier 2 Championship, and I cannot wait to see how it concludes. Muhiti versus Pommy Alex, a formidable driver pairing, as I think I predicted way back in the beginning of the season. They came in with a point to prove, those two, and have certainly delivered.
Absolutely. I don't have much to add to that. That's a very apt description of this season. It's been Ferrari ever since Alpine's woes sort of midway through this season, and it's a battle between those two for the title. I cannot wait. It's going to be fantastic.
Yes, I'm certain it will be. So it's the 1st of November, then we go to Monza next week, so please do tune in. Please do make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and if you're new here, I've not been around a while, so you new guys, make sure you check out the stream and show us some support over here. Go check out Ghost's channel as well for the onboards, as there should be some interesting footage that I might not have captured throughout the rest of the stream. Make sure you check out our sponsor as well, Positive Perception Media Design Products. They have an incredible enthusiasm for motorsport and show it in all of the content that they do on their YouTube channel and on their social media as well, with all their livery designs. I do love seeing those GT car liveries when they do crop up on my feed, and I'm sure you guys will as well, so please do give them some support. Thank you, Ghost, for being my co-commentator once again, and it's very good to be back Tier 2, and hopefully I will not be going anywhere for the foreseeable future, but we will see you next week for some more Tier 2 racing. I have been Sumo.
I have been Ghost.
And we will see you next time out, where we continue this incredible fight for the Tier 2 Championship. Goodbye for now.
Goodbye.